Hey everyone, welcome to Behind the Lines, the story in the song. I'm performing songwriter Oscar Butler, and today we're diving into one of my brand new songs that carries the weight of history. It's called Black Man's Bones. This song is about John Henry, a man who became a legend because of his strength, his pride, and ultimately his sacrifice. But beyond the myth, this is a song about resilience and what it means to fight for your worth, even when the odds are stacked up against you. So let's break it down. So, looking at the origins of this song, I originally started writing this, and I was going to use it with a fictional family member, an old, a grandfather, great grandfather who worked on the railroad. But I got to thinking, well, you know, John Henry is cool. I should just turn it to there because that's kind of where I was going anyway with it, with someone who worked on the railroad. The real life origins of John Henry's story is how he was a railroad worker who fought against being replaced by a steam drill. Now, the deeper themes that I've lodged into this song is labor, race, industrial progress, and the cost of being strong. The emotional weight of Black Man's Bones, it's not just a historical tale, it's a metaphor for the struggles people still face today. John Henry wasn't just a swinging hammer, he was proving something to himself, to the world, that no machine could ever match the soul and strength of a man who gave everything he had. And when I wrote this song, I wasn't just writing about him. I was writing about everyone who's ever been told they don't matter anymore. Um, that they are replaceable. The story is about it is still happening today, just in different ways. Now, in verse 1, we start off with John Henry worked for the railroad, died with a hammer in each hand. Polly's tears fell on his gravestone, said he was a steel driving man. And breaking down those verses, first off, I wanted to establish John Henry's identity immediately. His job wasn't just what he did, it was what he was. Yeah. Polly's tears make this a personal thing. It's grounding the legend in human emotion. Every legend has a human side. We hear about John Henry as a giant, this hero, but at the end of the day, he was a man who had someone who loved him, who cried over his grave. This first verse isn't about steel and machines and industry. It's about loss. Following that verse, I go into the first chorus, and the chorus goes, "His sweat would make his muscles glisten, pounding spikes into those stones. Working was his only ambition. It was born and bred into that black man's bones." And breaking those lines down, the imagery of sweat, muscle, and hard labor make it very visceral, very, very touchable feeling. And if you've ever done any hard labor, it brings it home. Born and bred, excuse me, born and bred into that black man's bone speaks to generational cycles of labor and struggle and endurance. And I mean, this is post Civil War, excuse me, post Civil War. So, it's not like, especially black men, it's not like they had a lot of opportunity. This chorus is more than just about John Henry. It's about all the men and women who were expected to work themselves to death, who had no ambition because ambition wasn't an option. That's what the line "born and bred into that black man's bones" means. This wasn't just a job, it was a destiny forced upon them. And so moving on, moving on to verse 2, it's when the machine arrives. It goes, "John Henry worked for the railroad till boss man said he soon would be through. Got a machine to replace him. John said, "By God, that cannot be true." Breaking down those lines, what happens here is we bring in the moment of conflict. The machine enters the picture. John Henry's reaction is defiant, rooted in disbelief and refusal to be replaced. It's amazing the things that you can squeeze into a song. um, this is the turning point. John Henry isn't just fighting for his job, he's fighting for his identity. And this is something a lot of people can relate to, whether it's automation today, AI, or just feeling like the world is moving on without you. That fear of being replaced is absolutely real. Then we jump to, let's see, that was after verse 2. We hit the chorus again, and we jump into verse 3. The verse 3 brings on the challenge. Verse 2, we introduce the machine. Verse 3, the challenge. You see the line, the story line that goes along in here. That's what I shoot for in my songs. In verse 3, it says, John Henry worked for the railroad. He said, nothing can work hard as me. Bring on that steam run contraption so everyone can see. John Henry's confidence is at its peak. He refuses to back down. This verse captures his defiance and pride, his belief that no machine can match human willpower. This is John Henry's defining moment. He's not just standing up for himself, he's standing up for every worker, every person who's ever been told that they don't matter. This is the kind of moment where a man becomes a legend. And so then we move into the bridge, which is the competition, the tragic end. Folks came all the way from Colleen. That's a town in Virginia. I looked it up. About 2.5 hours, I think, from Big Bend. Folks came all the way from Colleen to watch John Henry beat that machine. Big Bend Tunnel would be where John would win, but also would be where he would meet his end. If you look that up, it's I think they've got a big statue of John Henry at that tunnel or near it. It's I think it's a historical location. But anyway, the anticipation builds. The anticipation builds. The public gathers to witness history. Duality of triumph and tragedy happens here. John Henry wins, but at the ultimate cost. Victory can be bittersweet. John Henry proves his strength, but at what cost? The crowd came to see a spectacle, but they left having witnessed a sacrifice. That's why his story still resonates. It's about the price of proving yourself. I separated this bridge from verse 3 because they serve different purposes. Verse 3 is about his determination, but the bridge is about his legacy. One is his battle cry, the other is the moment that cements his name in history. And then we finish off with the chorus. So, when, again, which I've said probably in other episodes, is the way I usually start my music is with a little musical hook. And with this one, I wanted to use the slide. I've been learning how to use the slide, and I wanted to write a song with the slide. So that was part of what I came up with, and what I did with this song. I wanted this because I wanted it to be monotonous, sort of a monotonous thing, which is what hard labor is, especially like that with working, swinging a hammer all day. So I started with that, and then my little hook was, that was through the verses, and then when we got to the chorus, and so that went into the chorus, and then the last part of the chorus. So that's the basic music to it. Again, my main thing was I wanted to write a song using the slide, and I think slide's a cool thing, especially when it comes to playing the blues. So I've been working on a bunch of other songs with that. Black Man's Bones. John Henry worked for the railroad, died with a hammer in each hand. Polly cried on his gravestone. She said he was a steel driving man. His sweat would make his muscles glisten, pounding spikes into the stones. Hard work was his only ambition. It was born and bred into that black man's bones. John Henry worked for the railroad till bossman said he'd soon be through. Got a machine to replace him. John said, by God, this cannot be true, no. His sweat would make his muscles glisten, pounding spikes into the stones. Hard work was his only ambition. That was born and bred into that black man's bones. Yes. John Henry worked for the railroad. He said, nothing can work hard as me, no. Bring on that steam run contraption so everyone can see, yes. His sweat would make his muscles glisten, pounding spikes into the stone. Hard work was his only ambition. That was born and bred into that black man's bones. Yeah. Now folks came from as far as Colleen to watch John beat that machine. Big Bend Tunnel would be where John would win, but also would be where he would meet his end. Oh, his sweat would make his muscles glisten, pounding spikes into the stone. Hard work was his only ambition. It was born and bred into that black man's bones. Oh, it was born and bred into that black man's bones. Yes. So, John Henry's story didn't end at Big Bend Tunnel. People still tell the story, still sing it. I think I read there's over 200 songs about John Henry written. It's still finding meaning. People are still finding meaning in it. Maybe that's what real victory looks like, being remembered, because as long as people tell your story, you never really die. So, if you like hearing these episodes of Behind the Lines, give me that thumbs up and subscribe. And subscribe, hit that bell so you know when the next one comes out, which the next one comes out every Wednesday. So please feel free to comment, leave comments down below, and have a great week until next week, until I see you again.